Today I'm going to show you how you can set up likes on your custom blog feed for logged in members and how to keep track of them. What's up, you guys? Thanks for tuning in with your boy Nino, and today I got a tutorial for you guys on how you can set up your likes for your custom blog feed that we recently went over in one of my past videos, and how to add that onto that custom blog feed, okay, by using your repeaters, Wix repeaters. All right, so as you can see here, I actually have some things in order, okay. First I wanted to say that I went up to dev mode here, and then I just turned my dev mode on, and that's how you can get this whole entire screen right here, as you can see. Okay, as I did in my last video, definitely check it out in the right hand corner right now as I speak. I actually went over all of this stuff on how to create this like cool blog feed website page here. So let's go ahead and get started with adding some likes to it. I know it's been a while since I've been posting some videos, but hopefully I can get back in the swing of things, because, you know, hey, life happens, you know. So I appreciate you guys for following, and I definitely say hit that following in the bottom right hand corner of this video. And I just really appreciate you guys for all those subscribers out there that are subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. So let's go ahead and get into this thing. All right, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding some code here, but I want to just give you guys a layout of how I put this all together for my like button. Okay, so I actually just came here, I created a box here, and then I have two vector items. You can't see the other one right now, but there is another vector art below this. Okay, so easily you just come over to the add button right here, and then you get to scroll down to the box, add a box. This is a circular box. If you can't see that right now, you'll be able to see it once I drag it over into the repeater. Okay, and then how you get a vector image, you easily come back to your add button here, and then you can scroll down to your box. But then if you want to get decorative, you come over to the decorative. Okay, and then you go to your featured vector art, and then you go into all vector art, and then you can choose between all of those vectors images that are there, whether you want that to be a like or you want it to be a star or something like that. But I think right now the best vector images that I could find right now were the hearts, and there was one that was filled, and then one that was just outlined. Okay, so those are the two things that I'm using right now as my setup. Now also I wanted to add to my setup is my database. Okay, so I just created this post likes database. Okay, now this database will keep track of my users and also of my posts. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it real quick. So as you can see here, my post like data is comprised of two fields here. Well, three actually, I didn't take out title, but you get the gist. All right, so basically we'll see that these are both text here, and this is getting your user ID, whichever that person is that's your member, and then you have your post ID. Okay, so now that we have those two things in order, if you don't know how to add something here, all you have to do is click this add button to add another field item. Okay, or you can click on hidden fields and you can click new field. All right, once you go in here, you just go ahead and set those properties up the way you want it. The way that I have it right now is my field name and also my field key is the same here. And as you can see, this is encrypted, so it's personally identified information which is connected to their user ID, which I want to be encrypted just for safety reasons. Okay, now as you can see here, I got the user ID, I got the post ID, so I think I'm pretty good right now with the post likes data. Okay, database. All right, so let's go ahead over to our hooks here. As you can see, I have a data.js, and we want to add and remove hooks. Now this add and remove hook is going to register a hook before the insert. So what we want to do for this before the insert is make sure that there are no duplicates. Okay, no duplicate features. All right, so what we want to do here is do this. All right. So we want to make sure that we're checking out these items, and this is how I'm going to explain it to you guys real quick, and then I'll head back on over to the client side to show you guys all of that other information that I'm doing for the client side up here, okay, for our heart button and everything. All right, so as you can see here, we have our constant items here, and then we have our Wix data.query. And what we're doing here is basically we're fetching this this promise. Okay, as you can see here, we're fetching this promise, and our options are TT. Okay, I actually just did this whole entire thing nomenclature so that I can know that this is suppressing the authentication as well as suppressing the hooks, so that we don't have anything to worry about for that database. Okay, and I'll go into more details about the options at a later date, but this is how I do my options. You can definitely copy this from the video if you want, but I'm just going to add that into the code in the website, on the website, for just options TT. Okay, this is just a nomenclature for me to make sure that I'm picking the right option. Okay, and I don't have to repeat myself every single time. All right, so what this is saying here is we're going to grab the items from the JSON that is getting pushed back as a promise. Okay, and we want to check those items length. All right, so if we have an items length that is just anything, okay, that means that we're going to reject this. Okay, if items.length doesn't mean anything to you, or sorry, doesn't mean anything to this if else statement, then we're going to kick it out. Okay, if there's no items here, we're going to just kick it out. All right, and that means we're going to just return that item and everything is fine. A-okay. All right, so let's go back to the client side. All right, so this is basically the code that I went through in order to get all of this information here to populate. Now I'm just going to skip right through this because all of this stuff has been old stuff. Check my videos out before, and I'll put that in the right hand corner as I speak right now, of the collection of all of my videos that I do about blogs, so that it can just be right there for you guys to, you know, just check it out, look around. All right, so as you can see here, we're getting back to our repeater one, which that is this here. Okay, so what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to drag that content container box over onto your repeater. All right, I'm just gonna put it in the top right hand corner, just like this, and I'm just gonna place it there. All right, so now that my parameters, my elements are put onto this repeater, now I want to go ahead and put in the code. So give me 1 second, guys, and let me go ahead and add this code in. So now let's go ahead and get into the code that I just went through and paste down here, so you guys can get a better understanding of what I'm doing. All right, so what's happening here is we're going to import the Wix users module, just so that then we can keep it within the members, so that we can grab all of that information from the member themselves. Okay, so if they're not logged in, we'll have that parameter set right here in the repeater one. So this is all the information that I've done in my last video. Okay, so I'm just going to skip over that a little bit. All right, so here what we want to do is, this is our code. All right, this is our like code. All right, excuse me, our likes code. No, I'll just say like code. All right, that's fine. All right, so what you want you guys to do is do Shift Alt F. Okay, Shift Alt F will reformat everything, and if you right click inside here, it'll show you right here that Shift Alt F will be meaning as format, Control F will be find, undo will be Control Z, and then redo will be Control Shift Z. And then you can see all the shortcuts on the side over here if you would like. All right, so I'm not going to go ahead and do that right now, but essentially you get what I'm talking about. All right, so I made these constants, okay, these are constants. These constants cannot be changed. All right. So that means we don't have to really worry about this right here. Okay. Because it's going to be staying constant. Now, if we create this and we create it with a let or a variable, which is a var, so basically it'll be like var like that, then you can change those. Okay. But with a constant, you cannot change it after it gets set. All right, so basically we want to keep this constant because we're gonna get this item vector right up here, and then we're going to get is not liked is another item vector up here, which would be is not liked would be vector image 33, which would be it would be the empty heart up here, okay, and then the heart that is full will be the is liked, okay. The like box will be that container here, okay, so that would be box 13. All right, and this is so that you don't have to worry about changing these things over and over again. That was a hassle and a pet peeve of mine. Like, I really do not like doing that, where I did stuff up here like that. Right now, if I were to like have to change this, I will have to change this for each and every one of these things here. Like for image here, image here, image here, I would have to update all of that together. I just noticed that I'm gonna just keep it constant there, okay? So as I'm evolving, you guys are evolving too, and we're learning different new things each and every way. All right, so go ahead and check this collection ID out here. We're going to be going into our post likes data, and in order to like figure out what that field to figure out what that database ID is, you just go ahead, come over to post likes data that you created. You click here, you click edit settings, and then you can come down here and you can see that this is ID that you're using. All right, that's the ID. You copy it if you want to say copy, or you could just press Control C and you can copy it. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and exit out. This should be this is a good thing that I actually went through here. Okay, so basically let's make it site content, okay, but instead of it being like site content, let's go ahead and say member generated content. All right, just so that we know that it's only for members. All right, but if you don't and you want the likes to show, like the type of members who have liked the information, then just set it back to site content right there. Okay, I'm just going to keep it at site content because right now this is just a tutorial. I'm not trying to get into the permissions down here, but if you guys do not want other people to see this data, so then you would have to create member generated content so that only members can submit and modify the data in this collection. Okay, but if it's site content, anyone can view this data, but just know, let's go ahead and set it to member generated content, because I will tell you that this is a problem right here for site content. Because say for instance you want to do a custom use, all right, that means if you set these to custom use, you can say who can read this content. Well, let's go ahead and say anybody. Okay, that's just like what the site content said, right? But who can create content for this collection? What we want to do is we want to add it to a site member. Okay, and then who can update content from this? We want to set that to site member author. Okay, what this is going to do after I set this last parameter, it's going to probably change this collection type to site generated or member generated content. Okay, so I'm going to set this to admin. All right, so as you can see, no, I'm not going to actually set this to admin. I'm going to set this to member author. So as you can see, it changed right back to member generated content. All right, so that's how you know, okay, anybody can read this, but site member and the site member author can only change their information. Okay, so let's go ahead and save all those changes, and then it will bring up the database again. But right now I don't need to be here. I already explained this to you guys, so I'm just going to click this exit. All right, so now what we're going to do is go over a little bit of this code here. So this is going to the collection ID, like I said before, and then this like status. All right, we're gonna just create these this JSON right here of default, active, and focus. All right, we can take focus out for now because I'm not doing any type of animated thing. So just stay tuned for that. I might just do some animated like button. I don't know, we'll see. But right now, I just want to keep it simple and straightforward. All right, so we got this parameter switch like, and we have the get like. All right, so with the get like, we're going to query this collection based off of our user ID. Okay, our current user that has an ID, and then we're going to see that post item dot underscore ID will be the ID for that post. All right, so we'll just say post ID, and then we'll say dot find. All right, so once we get our information back, we want to look at the like info. All right, this like info will be based on what get like gets. So if get like returns that promise, okay, which this is returning a promise right here, define, it returns a promise. If that promise shows no items, then if I say get like dot items and that first item, if there is a first item, then it's going to go ahead through this ternary condition statement here, which a ternary condition statement is the same thing as an if else statement, but it's just on a line. All right, so if this is true and it finds an item, then it's going to put that item in for like info. If not, it's going to make that like info a null parameter. Okay, now the switch like is named up here. Okay, now we want to check and see if these items are greater than 0. Okay, if it's not greater than 0, we're going to put that like to a default. All right, and we'll show you the like status dot default in a few. All right, but we're going to set that switch like to like status default if nobody has anything like that user. This user doesn't have anything matched up with that post ID. Okay, so then we'll set that like status, which is a function within our actual repeater function that is at the bottom. All right, but let's go ahead into the liked box. Okay, so this like box that I have, the box 13 or whatever box you have, we're going to say an on click, and we're going to make this a sync. Like I said before, it's going to go in the steps. All right, so I just put that async there. I don't know if I use it down here. No, I don't. I actually really don't use this async at all. All right, so basically we don't need this here. If we need it, then we'll use an await. All right, so tit for tat, you can leave it here if you want, or you can just get rid of it. All right, so if is not liked dot hidden. Okay, so this is a boolean that indicates if this thing is hidden or not. The reason why I'm going to is not liked is because if that is shown, then that means that it is false. So that means it's going to go and run this else statement by adding a like when somebody clicks on to this liked box, okay, here. But if the person is if the person did like that particular post, then what we'll have to do is if they click this box again, it's going to set it to default. That means it's going to show that actual is not liked box, all right here. And let me go ahead and get into that real quick before I get into anything else. So this function down here is a switch statement, which it will go through each state. All right, so this state right here is like state status dot default. All right, like status dot default means default up here. As you can see in that JSON that we created up here, right here, we have named it default. All right, so this is going to be it's basically like an alias for a string. Okay, so it's going to say if this string equals one of these two things, one of these two cases, then run that case. Okay, so like status dot default. All right, we had that up here for removing the like if the like button is hidden. Okay, so if it is hidden, we're going to set that to our default, which is down here, and we're going to hide is liked, and we're going to show is not liked. All right, that way we can go through this try catch statement here. And so what we're going to try here is we're going to try to remove the information from the remove the information from the collection ID 1, which that is our post likes data. All right. So if this thing is removed, then we're going to go ahead and say post was unliked in the console, and that means that everything has been completed. But if there is no information that gets put back out in this response, because this is actually giving us a promise, okay? And this promise is going to be the item information, okay? And if that does not come back as something in that, it's going to return else, and we're going to do this reject and say did not remove. That means it tells us that that thing didn't remove. That means it's going to go to catch error, and it's going to go to status like status.active. That means it was not removed. That means nothing happened. So boom, we do nothing. All right. So I just want to let you guys know that for dot removed, it shows options up here. This options is just so that you can suppress the authentication, or you can suppress the hooks itself as well. So as you can see here, it wasn't removed. Okay, we'll just do a catch error, and we're gonna go ahead and set that back to its like status. All right, so we can actually go ahead and put a console.log there and express what that error is. So let's go ahead and move down here. And this is the juicy part. This is when you're adding the like. We want to make sure that that user is logged in. So we're going to do wix user.current-user.logged in. If the user is not logged in, then we're going to go to this else statement, and we're going to prompt that user to actually log in. Okay, so this will use the prompt.login here. Wix users.prompt login, and the option is to sign up because they are not signed up yet. Okay, so let's go ahead and sign them up. All right, we can use sign up, or we can use login. Tit for tat. We can also change the language for that as well, so that it can be updated to the most current language, all right, that Wix has to offer. This is just a little prompt that is quick and easy to do. All right, once this goes through and somebody goes and types in their information and it returns all this information about the user, we're going to go ahead and apply the like. Okay, and that apply the like is this function right here, the same type of function that we did up here, but just so that we make sure it goes through the correct way to get that member's ID. Okay, so if there's an error, this gonna close that dialog box, okay, and it's going to return that error, which I want to go ahead and check that out first as well. So if anything comes back saying that there was an error, I can make sure that I know where it happened. Okay, so let's go ahead down to apply. So apply like is basically taking the user ID and the post ID and setting those accordingly, and it's going to insert that into this collection, which is collection ID 1, which that is up here, post likes data. Okay, as you can see, we actually named that post likes data as before. Okay, so now we're gonna say that it's gonna go through all that, and it's gonna do the same exact thing that we did for remove up here. Okay, and also I'm going to put that console .log of that error to make sure that there was nothing wrong. Okay, so if this gives us an error, okay, here, then we know that something went wrong. Okay, and that is something in the syntax up here, because this is just checking to see if the syntax was right. If the syntax was right, it's good. All right, if something were to error inside of this try statement, it would catch that error and kick it back out just like that. All right, and then also the set like status is here. Okay, so I think we're good to go here. I think all we have to do is just test this out and preview it. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's check it out. So let's go ahead and preview this thing. So as you can see, it's seeing that I have 2 things already liked here. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and unlike it, and we can see that post was unliked. Okay, now if we wanted to like this over here, we could like this and it would say post was liked. All right, so that means it downloaded that information. All right, so if we were to unlike it, then it would say post was unliked. So this is how everything is supposed to be set up. All right, and I think it looks pretty good. So definitely let me know what you think about this tutorial in the comments below. Yeah, so that works out. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Definitely give it a shot. If you have any questions, drop it below. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and if you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe if you aren't already, and I'll see you in the next video, guys. All right, ciao.